Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the Spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I did a previous video on this Carmelo Anthony situation. And my thinking on this has shifted slightly. And the reason is because part of me is starting to think that this looks an awful lot like a psyop. Now, what I mean by that is I don't believe that this kid wasn't stabbed or that this incident didn't play out the way that it absolutely appears from the witness testimony and stuff. I think that absolutely is true. But I think on multiple levels, with the people that are representing the family, the sort of messages that we've seen on the GoFundMe, there are a lot of things that I'm looking at this going, like, this can't possibly be real. I'll give you an example. People are talking about the comments on Carmelo Anthony's fundraiser. And so here's one of them I want to go over. And I hope we help you raise 1 million. These white people can die mad like they ancestors did. Whites have been obsessed with black people for years. It's 2025. The hate is embedded into their DNA at this point. They don't know if they love us or hate us. LOL. Too bad we don't care. I mean, just pure... the thing is, I read this, and I go, they got the cadence down, all of the grammatical errors and the just general feeling of low IQ sentiment. But I'm looking at this going, this seems like it's a troll. And I say that because it's just such a perfectly terrible statement. Like, even talking about DNA. Like, bringing up DNA. Like, I hope we raise 1 million. These white people can... Like, everything about this seems like a troll. Here's another one. BANF. We are the defenders of our lineage. This is America, and these flat whiteness immigrants... Flat whiteness? From all over the world has always been open enemies towards foundational black America from day one. No more. This is very weird. This is very weird. Here's another one. I am donating again after seeing the need for additional protection/expenses. I am so glad to see him getting released on bond. These crackers need to understand that we are not our ancestors, and they will reap what they sow. Hope the knife made a full recovery. We've reached the point where this is beyond parody. This can't be real. Like, do you understand? This is something that's like so... It's so ridiculous that I guess my brain is having a hard time believing that this is real. That's what it is. It's so ignorant and so racist and so brazen and so low IQ that I don't want to believe that there are people in this country that have ideas like this that they would just espouse. And that sort of evil, that sort of filth, I guess part of me is like, what do you even do with that? No, I'm not naive. I understand that there is a deep and abiding resentment of white people in the black community. There is. And I'm not completely oblivious. I understand that a majority of that animosity comes from their own failures, their own inadequacies, their own insecurities, their own issues that they blame on white people because it's much easier than admitting the problems and actually working to fix them. It's why they always vote for Democrats, because Democrats tell them the same thing. No, you're perfect the way you are. You don't need to change. You don't need to improve. You don't need to do anything. We're going to downgrade all the sort of standards, and we're going to make racially targeted, affirmative action programs and scholarships. So we're going to come to you. You don't need to elevate yourself at all. Oh, no, it's perfectly fine, the abortion rate in the black community. No, it's perfectly fine, the fatherlessness. It's like, oh, your culture is perfect the way it is, even though it's a dishonorable culture that's absolutely embarrassing to everyone. Everyone. But I look at this, and this is beyond just one or two people with a series of bad ideas. These people are putting money behind this. And I guess part of me is just thinking like this might be a psyop. This might be racial instigators or people trying to cause problems. Because it's hard for me to believe that there are people that are genuinely this retarded and this stupid. However, and I admit, the thing that actually gives me pause is who they chose to represent them. This person here is a known instigator, a known race baiter, like a serial race baiter. So, Carmelo Anthony's family was having a press statement, having a press conference. Austin Metcalf's father, who had publicly forgiven Carmelo Anthony, showed up. Now, there was nothing in the court order that said he couldn't come, but he wanted to be there. And I imagine that if I were in his position, I probably would do the same thing. Like, my son is dead. Like, what other thing do I have that's possibly as important? And to be honest, if they had just ignored him, nothing would have happened. But, yeah, they made the situation 10 times worse. And so this guy's statement is making me think that there is something else going on here. Not that the details of the case are different, but I'm just trying to figure out why this seems like it's so perfectly tailored to distract people and to get them angry. Like, genuinely angry. The people that are in charge of representing this case are people that are using hyper-racial language, that are trying to antagonize white people, using the most divisive, hateful stuff imaginable, raising an unseemly amount of money for a kid who is obviously guilty. Like, there are many things in this that just don't make sense.
And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay? What he has failed into is the political operatives that want to make this thing a political thing of hate, yet bigotry, and yet racism. We have conservative operatives that have been posting nonstop about this case.
Yeah. You also have left-wing opportunists that have been posting about this case. Mainly because it's a kid that died. And we're against that. We don't like that. We don't like that to happen. Now, here's the difference between the white community, the Hispanic community, the Asian community, the Eskimo community, the Native American, everyone else, and the black community. We don't like to see kids getting stabbed and killed. In fact, to the point where if somebody in our own group does it, we want to see them punished in the harshest way possible that is legal by law. We want to see them punished. We want to see them held accountable. We want justice. The black community does not. No. Every time there is some scumbag, some person that is just an absolute detriment to the world, people like this will come forward and defend them and blame other people, blame anyone else who is around. You know, if they're living in America, well, it's just whites in general. If it's, if it's South Africa, oh, it's these farmers. There is this excuse making and this pathetic caterwauling. Oh, it's somebody else's fault. Where this guy who lost his son is now being called, well, you're rude for just showing up. The guy wasn't being disruptive. He didn't show up drunk, throwing bottles and, wielding a knife or anything. He was just there. And this is a guy that had forgiven Karmelo Anthony publicly on TV. But people like this decided, we're going to disparage the father. We're going to calling his presence a disrespect to the dignity of his son. To a grieving father. This seems so bizarre. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not that it's a psyop. Maybe it's just me desperately trying to find another solution or another reason. But what is clear is that this kid, Karmelo Anthony, had the opportunity to walk away. He had the opportunity to leave, but instead, he did exactly what the black community condones as acceptable. We don't take insults, or we don't take disrespect. People who disrespect us, we're going to hurt them. It's pathetic. I know it's an unserious thing, but it reminds me of One Piece. The anime One Piece. So there's a scene early on where Shanks, who is a pirate, he's there with his crew, and a bunch of bandits come in. And, the bandits are upset because the pirates drank all the booze at the bar. And Shanks, who's the leader of these pirates, says, hey, look, sorry we drank all the booze. Here's as a gesture of goodwill, here's a bottle of wine. There's a bottle of booze. The guy who was the bandit broke the bottle and poured out the contents over the captain pirate's head. And it was a sign of disrespect. Now, did the pirate captain, did he draw his sword, stab him in the heart? No. He just laughed, and all of his other crew laughed. They laughed, and eventually the pirates, eventually they got up, the bandits walked away. They're like, this isn't worth our time. Now, Luffy, who's the main character, this is when he was a kid, got outraged. How could you let him disrespect? How could you let him you should have fought that. You should have destroyed them. That was the mentality of a child. And Shanks had to explain to him, dude, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you just poured some booze on me. Like, it's not worth getting into a fight. It's not worth killing or dying over. And it seems to me that sort of mentality, that sort of maturity is just absent. And it's not just one. It's a lot. It's a lot. There's a reason why the statistics in the black community are as abysmal as they are. And I know that there are people, so many people like Asman go, well, you know, a lot of people who are around other people kill a predominant number of other people. That's actually not true. Blacks kill themselves and other races more. Just per capita than any other race. It's not even close. It's when I say it's not even close, it's not even close. I think Asmongold would never pull it up, but if you looked at the statistics, I think it would shock him. Because he desperately doesn't want to get to the heart of this issue. And to be honest, I don't blame him. It's uncomfortable. It's not good. You don't want to talk about it. You want to talk about anything else, in fact.
Sleeping in his warm, cozy bed. Anthony is out on bond with his family in his house, sleeping in his warm, cozy bed at night. And this happened a day or two after Austin Metcalf's family had to lay him to rest. See, this is why weak men create hard times. Because his weak-ass father raised a weak-ass boy who thought it was a great idea to bring a knife to a track meet where a bunch of other teenagers are, solely with the intention to cause bodily harm on someone else. Because let's be honest, the facts are facts. It don't matter how you feel, the facts are facts. They're claiming that Karmelo Anthony was being bullied by Austin Metcalf. Once again, Austin Metcalf was under his tent provided by his school for his team. Karmelo Anthony went under Austin Metcalf's tent with a knife in his bag. Was it raining? Sure. Was there plenty of other tents? Absolutely. Would it take him forever to move from under a tent where his alleged bully is? Would it take him forever to move from that tent to go under another tent? Absolutely not. Which goes back to why I said, and I'm still saying, he went to that track meet with a knife directly to cause bodily harm on somebody else. Now, while Karmelo Anthony was under Austin Metcalf's team's tent, Austin approached him and told him, bro, you cannot be under here. This is our tent. Find your own tent. He immediately picked up his bag, opened it, reached in, held on to the knife, and told him, touch me and see what happened. Right? Austin Metcalf approached him because, let's be honest, who was thinking or who would be thinking in front of multiple other people someone would have the nerve to pull out a knife and stab somebody else in a public scene, public track meet? Your life is in no way, means, shape, or form in threat unless you're allergic to fucking rain, which, regardless of the stereotype, I don't see how rain can drown a black boy.
That's funny. This guy's absolutely right. And the thing is, I've said this before, that it's not race, it's culture. It's not race, it's culture. I've said it before 1,000 times. The black culture in America, for the most part, is dishonorable, disgraceful. And it is a problem where the black community in America finds solidarity with the worst of the worst. Now, the reason why I say it's not a race thing is because, well, first of all, we saw somebody like that that's not part of the indoctrination. It's not part of that thing. Somebody who seems pretty chill, pretty down to earth, wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Props to you for wearing that, brother. Yeah, that guy seems pretty cool. There are millions of black people just like him that are awesome, that you would love to have in your community. Because they're down to earth, they understand, they've integrated into America. But there are a lot of people that have a culture that's different. You wouldn't want to be anywhere near them. And, the best example of this is actually when I worked in the business world. The people I knew from Nigeria profoundly hated black culture in America. Black people in America, they did not like them at all. You think like some of those videos going around of someone like using the N-word, you think that's bad? Man, that doesn't even begin. These people from Nigeria who are hardworking guys, like super hardworking. They'd be like, man, couldn't you believe these? I can't even say it. Like they would just every disparagement, because they would look at them like, yeah, these people are lazy. These people are good for nothing. Like their culture is dishonorable. It's disgraceful. It was almost every single time somebody from Nigeria would come in, it would be the same thing. And they would use the N-word all the time, by the way, in a derogatory, like pejorative, not like with the A, but like with the hard R. I mean, you'd be like, oh God, you can't say that. But the point is that it's not race. It's not race. It's not DNA. It's culture. Culture is the culprit. And you know how I know that? Because black culture used to be honorable. Black culture, like you see those old-time black guys that were all about family. Like, you stay with the family, you raise your kid. There was honor in that. It's culture. It is. And the culture has changed in the black community. Do I think that it can change back? Yeah, but it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work. And it's going to have to start with staying in the home and breaking this obsession with materialism, shoes, cars, necklaces. And it's going to have to get to, there's something more. There's something more important than materialism. And that's your family, your legacy, integrity, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I feel bad for the father. Anyways, I can't even articulate. I mean, to show up there, I think that showed a lot of bravery, because this guy is probably living, well, it's not probably, he's living with this every moment of every day. And he probably showed up there because, it was his way of probably reaching out and showing love for his son. I don't know what I would do if I were in his position. I can't even imagine. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.